I was playing League yesterday. Yes, I'm a League player, and decided to stop playing since I've been on a lose streak and took a break. And while I was contemplating on what game I should play next, a sudden nostalgia just hit me. I was reminded of the games before I played on Facebook. So I quickly checked on games on Facebook, and to my surprise, for like not playing a game in Facebook in almost a decade, I was very disappointed of how the gaming section of it is drastically changed. Most of the games are on gambling, like solitaire, uh, Jack Blacks, I don't know, any kind of gambling cards, billiards, and typical puzzle games. From that, my nostalgia just got even deeper. Coming from a below average family, we didn't have any good computers to play those heavy games back in 2016 and below. Not until I got my very own first laptop in 2017. So I used a lot of my childhood playing web games, especially on Facebook. I researched more into it, and mostly most of the games back then were just shifting to new platforms, mostly on mobile, and some games just shut down due to oversaturation of the market, resulting in monetization challenges and some problems. Whatever the reasons may be, no one can deny the fact that early 2010s Facebook games were a different breed. So instead of being sad that it ended, I'm just gonna reminisce the glory days of Facebook games. I've played a lot of Facebook games, but the first memorable one I remembered was Uber Strike. Uber Strike reminded me of the old Halo or Quake when I first played the game. It was fast paced, and it was fun hitting your enemies with a sniper or whacking enemies with a baseball bat. My favorite map to play was on Cuber Strike. There was a position in one of the floating cubes where I just sniped players relentlessly. I was lucky that I got to play it because on June 13, 2016, they finally shut down the game server, and it was truly a fun FPS game. The next game that I still remember whenever I think Gears of War was Shadowgun Dead Zone. I know it's another shooter, but it's really hard to not talk about this game because out of all the Facebook games that I've played, this was the second last game that I've played, though it was on mobile phone, not on Facebook. Originally, I played Shadowgun Dead Zone on Facebook, and I was a monster playing this game. I can't remember how many players I killed on this game. Just like Gears of War, it has a similar style of gameplay, even to the cover mechanics. My favorite weapon to use was the shotgun. Hitting them on their face at point blank was so satisfying, and one of the reasons why I got a lot of kills was my grenade throw. It was on another level. I've killed a lot of players with just my grenades alone. There is another Shadowgun game on the mobile that you can play called Shadowgun Legends, but it just can't compare to Shadowgun Dead Zone. The third game is a game where I would whoop anyone's butt, which is called Shadow Fight. Yes, that's Shadow Fight. Not Shadow Fight 2, which you can play on your mobile phone, but the OG Shadow Fight one on Facebook. But technically, they're still the same or created by the same game developer, which was Nikki. The game reminded me of Mortal Kombat, minus the horrible bloods and guts spewing everywhere. I do agree that Shadow Fight 2 is leagues better than the OG Shadow Fight. Better animation, better visuals, better bosses. But there is one good thing about in the OG Shadow Fight, which was the PvP mode. I would challenge my friends and brothers in OG Shadow Fight, and of course, I would whoop their asses so hard. That was one of the shine in OG Shadow Fight, to socialize and be closer to your friends and family while whooping their asses. Lastly, the only sports game that I've played on Facebook was Baseball Heroes. I've never really been a sports guy, but I do have fun watching some of them. My good friend before actually recommended this to me, and ever since then, I was hooked. Baseball Heroes was so much fun by just clicking the left mouse button or spacebar and hitting that perfect home run. Designing your stadium to look more beautiful and recruiting your team was a joy on itself, to make your team composition stronger, and especially getting to use those overpowered baseball bats to get home runs was so satisfying. The art style also was really good, and I used to draw references out of that game. I am happy to get to play this game with my two friends before. We would play it the whole afternoon, and if it wasn't for my friend recommending this, I wouldn't get to play this wonderful game. There were still a lot of games that I've played on Facebook that would take me hours just to talk about them. I almost forgotten the good memories that I've had because of the games on Facebook. I know some people out there have that game on Facebook that they've played hours and hours, having fun without a care in the world. And if it weren't for that lose streak in League, I probably wouldn't think of making this video. All in all, what I'm trying to say is that League sucks